A true and faithful relation would pass for many years between Dr. John Dee and some spirits, 1659, Meric Casaubon. We're continuing the July 2nd afternoon, 1:15. You know, if 12 is the midpoint of the day. Dee said, as concerning our usage in the 4 days, in the 14 days, we would gladly have some information. Avi said, you would know to reap before your corn be sown. Kernels. It's not just this stuff that we typically call corn. Dee said, as concerning a fit place and time to call and other circumstances, we would learn somewhat. Avi said, you would know where and when to call before your invocations bear witnesses of your readiness. Dee said, then they must be written in verbis concuptus, in formal words. Avi said, a very easy matter. Dee said, what is the book you mean that I should write? Avi said, the book consisteth of 1. Invocations of the names of God, and 2. of the angels, by the book. The names of God. Their offices are manifest. You did desire to be fed with spoons, and so you are. Didn't Jeffrey James publish this prayer book sort of thing as that? And Dee said, as concerning Bateva and Ba'ateva, I pray you not to be offended, though I ask again, what is the truth? Avi said, the word is but of 6 letters, whereof 1 is on the left side, 1 on the right, 2 above, and 2 under. A and H are put 2. Dee said, sometimes are communitor A, and in extremis judicaeus H, as I was taught before. So that the word is Bateva or Bateva. Edward Kelly said, I think he be gone, for he made this a sign of the cross towards us and drew the white curtain. And D in the margin said, he meaneth of the left side of the square center of the principal cross, not perfect square, but heteromechus. And D said, as we sat a while and talked of the calls received in the holy language and not yet Englished, there was a voice. You shall have those calls in English on Thursday. And so, ask me no more questions. He said, thanks, honor, and glory be to our Creator, Redeemer, and Sanctifier, now and forever. Amen. The calls to be had in English on Thursday next. Thursday, Cracovia, July 5, Main, Hora 8, Pharaoh. Oration Dominica Finita Adeisque Extemporaneis Ejaculationibus. It's not ejaculationibus ad Deum eo appetito promisso optimorum verborum de angelica interpretation 14 elarum invocationem quas a 14 mae ultime recipimus tandem apparurunt Gabriel in cathedra eo tabage. Gabriel in his chair, and the boggy with the table, or rather globe, with the letters in it, and so on. So, in a way, the Golden Dawn is right that it's not just supposed to be some flat thing, but in a way they're not right. Well, it's in some ways it's easier to work the Golden Dawn system with their truncated pyramids, but in other ways it's difficult. He said, "Blessed be our God always, for his mercies, his graces be with us now and forever." Edward Kelly said, "Gabriel standeth up. Gabriel said, and dictum est sape vobis perseverat usque ad finem." He said, "God gave us that ability." Gabriel said, "And why is it said so? But because you shall have many temptations and afflictions, after which come consolation and comfort. If the smith prove and temper his gold by fire, his intent is to excel in the work that he hath in hand, that thereby it might be tried, refined, and made apt to the end wherein it shall be used. Much more, think you, doth the God of wisdom forge, try, and beat out such as be intended to use in the execution of his divine and eternal purposes. How therefore can you find fault with the Lord? How can you say he dealeth not justly with you, when he suffereth you to be proved to the uttermost? If you pay the uttermost farthing, are you not become free? If you feel affliction and temptation, and withstand it, are you not the more pure, the more justified, for the vineyard and harvest of the Lord? Oh yes, my brethren, for the more the wise man is afflicted, the more he rejoiceth, and the greater his adversity is, the more he profitereth. Is it not written, no man cometh to the Lord, but he is justified, purified, and accepted? Whence, therefore, if you seek to come before the Lord, that is to say, to appear to be blessed, shall your justification or purifying arise. Of your own nature it cannot, for you were born sinners, but by Christ you may. Why are you born sinners? Is it a mistake that you're born? And wouldn't you not be a sinner until until that's the dominant feature of your aspect? Your character, in whom you are justified through patience and resisting temptations, true proof, and touch of man. But me thinketh, I hear you say, oh, if we were rich, or of ability. True it is, for the dust of the earth many men excel you, but in that you speak with God in us, his angels, that is to say, messengers. You are not only happy, which happiness the others want, but you excel all the creatures of the earth, and in the margin are great privilege with God. Gabriel's still speaking. Well, at least an entity calls himself Gabriel. O my brethren, their joy is a bittersweet, but the comfort that you have is eternal, is sweet, and a food forever. Therefore, if you will be eternal and in perpetual comfort with joy, despise the world for the world's sake, and delight in God for his mercies, which if you truly do, then can no tempest prevail, no affliction come amiss, Nar no burden be too heavy for you, for it is written, Gaudium beatorum est Christus, quae mundus omnia mana fecit. O my brethren, be contented and suffer the world, for as Christ in vanquishing her, I don't know, I think certain things became more common after the appearance of Christianity, and certainly the worldly, the world for itself, even completely secular, not just supposedly wrong religions, but the world for itself became even more common. So what sense does that make? Did prove himself the Son of God. So shall you, in resisting her, at last overcome, to be accounted the sons of God. Okay, so just like certain references that I pointed out in the Bible, that's not literal stuff here. God in Christ, of whom you are a follower. John D., be of comfort, for thou shalt overcome. D said, God be praised, therefore. Edward Kelly said, and what do you say of me? D said, if I prevail, Satan shall not have his will of you, for. Gabriel said, but unto thee, Edward Kelly, saith the Lord, take heed how thou meddlest with hell, lest it swallow thee. Have patience a time. Edward Kelly said, they be gone out of sight. D said, in the meantime, we read over the premises twice, to our great comfort. Edward Kelly said, now they be here again. Now is a cloud over them, all white like a smoke. A voice said, move not, for the place is holy. By a great hollow voice. Edward Kelly said, why should it be holy? D said, the court is where the king is. So where the Lord is present, the place is accounted holy, and is so. Edward Kelly says, now they be out of the cloud. D said, after this, they made another pause, longer than before. Edward Kelly said, when shall we practice Ave, his calls, and so on? Gabriel said, my brother, thou hast least care. Thou drawest both of God and man. That is, promise thee, shall be paid thee, and that which is to come thou shalt be partaker of. To Edward Kelly. D said, to Edward Kelly, for he hath no care either for meat nor drink for him and his, neither is he destitute of $400 yearly pension, and is to have some help by art. Valgi said, say the first word of the call. He said, Sapa is the fifth, for four being Englished. And so the fee to Albert Lasky was $400 yearly. Top advisor for a king. That shows how far money went back then. Oh, you can buy this estate for $400. Okay, Gabriel said S. Oh, okay. Fourth degree, okay. Edward Kelly said, he holdeth up all his hand, and on his thumb standeth written, and the spirits of the fourth angle are, and on the fingers, orderly, very big letters. And in the margin, D said, it is yet a mystery to what book these and such words have relation. They are in every call following. Okay. The Zakar Zaman, Otakikli Kaz, Orgi Lap Sirodon, Gavad Hawatieta are some variation of that, right? And then Alvagi said, 9 mighty in the firmament of waters, whom the first hath planted, a torment to the wicked, and a garland to the righteous, giving unto them fiery darts, to fan the earth, and 7699. That word thou hast not is Akam, continual workman, whose courses visit with comfort the earth, and are in government and continuance as the second and the third. Wherefore hearken unto my voice, I have talked of you, and I move you in power and presence, whose work shall be a song of honor and the praise of God in your creation, your God and your creation. Edward Kelly said, like a cloud covereth between me and the things in the air. Six, 2, I don't know what that's about. Navagi said, that is one. Edward Kelly said, now he plucketh the curtain over all. He said, because you have said that Akam betokening 7,699, the 6 is half a step above. It's as in where the circle for the 9 is, the circle for the 6 is at that level, was to be put in his place. I have viewed and numbered, and I find the words of the call more than the English parcels by many. For the English parcels are 41, and the call hath above 50. A voice said, you have owed the 4th word of that call. The whole call is placed there, and ought to be the next. Number the words of the next call. D said, so that the next call ought to have this English. Edward Kelly said, now he showeth again. And in the margin, Sapa. And Navagi said, the mighty sounds have entered into the 3rd angle, and are become as olives in the olive mount, looking with gladness upon the earth, and, Edward Kelly said that there were clouds, dwelling in the brightness of the heavens, as continual comforters, unto whom I fasten pillars of gladness. 19, and that is off, that word, have not there, and gave them vessels to water the earth with her creatures, and they are the brothers of the 1st and 2nd, and the beginning of their own seats, which are garnished with continual burning lamps. 69,636. 693 is like half a step down. Navagi said, whose numbers are as the first, the ends and the contents of time. Piral or Peral, you want that word. And Edward Kelly said, a cloud came between and his eyes, his eyes and the shoe stone, which is actually when you're scrying, that sort of thing that tends to happen more than anything for most people. Anyways, first time. Therefore come ye and obey your creation. Edward Kelly said, now all the fingers are bound downward, and clouds for to sick in the margin. Visit us in peace and comfort. Conclude us as receivers of the mysteries, for why our Lord and Master is all one. And D said 5-1. Oh, that's the number of words, right? And dwelling in the brightness of the heaven as continual comforters is in the margin. Navagi said, that is it that went before. Edward Kelly said, now he draweth the curtain. He said, I understand this to be the English of the 5th call, and that before of the 6th. The numbers of the parcels seem to agree, so that we have now the English of the 5th and 6th call. Thanked be God. EMAF and Peawal. 3 words which you said we had not. I find them in the calls. Your meaning perhaps is some other than the common words. Edward Kelly said, Now he openeth again. A mighty guard of fire, with 2-edged swords flaming, which have the veils 8 of wrath for 2 times and a half, whose wings are of wormwood, and of the marrow of salt, have settled their feet in the west, and are measured with their ministers 9,996. No, 6 is half a step above. That is, these gather up the moss of the earth, as the rich man doth his treasure. Cursed are they whose iniquities they are, and their eyes are millstones greater than the earth, and from their mouths run seas of blood. Their heads are covered with diamonds, and upon their hands are marble sleeves. Happy is he on whom they frown not, for why? The God of righteousness rejoiceth in them. Come away, and not your vials, for the time is such as requireth comfort. And next to the which have vials, 8 of wrath, Navagi said, That is P, you have not the mark by the mystery. And these gather up the moss. We have next that C.AL, that you have not. And the margin, we have the 9th. And D said 59. And west. Edward Kelly said, Now he draweth the curtain. D said, As I was comparing the call to this English, a voice said, Navagi said, It is the next call. D said, I understand it to be the 4th call. R. Edward Kelly said, Now he openeth. And the margin, Navagi oaks, and that you have not. And D in the middle of, house and come up here to, I understand the end of this earth, and so on. So Navagi sang, The midday, the first, is as the 3rd heaven made of hyacinth pillars, 26 in whom the elders are become strong, which I have prepared for my own righteousness, saith the Lord, whose long continuance shall be as buckles to the stooping dragon, and like unto the harvest of a widow. How many are there which remain in the glory of the earth, which are and shall not see death until this house fall and the dragons sink? Come away, for the thunders have spoken. Come away, for the crowns of the temple and the coat of him that is, was, and shall be crowned are divided. Come appear to the terror of the earth, and to our comfort, and of such as are prepared. Edward Kelly said, Now he hath covered all again. He said, As I was speaking of his diversity, saying, This you have not, and this you have not. A voice said, Some you have, and some you have not. Whether you have or have not, it is a mystery. Edward Kelly said, There is a little fire in the stone, going about it, like a little candle. The curtain is open, and a great cloud over them. Now they appear clear. The Navagi sang, The thunders of judgment and wrath are numbered, and are harbored in the north in the likeness of an oak, whose branches are nests 22 of lamentation and weeping laid up for the earth, and that times 5,678 in the 24th part of a moment, roar with 100 mighty earthquakes, and 1,000 surges which rest not, or labor still, neither know, and or that you have not. Next to the 24 and 5,000, 57 is half a step below 68. That the oaks, that is the oaks that you have not. Okay. Of a moment, next to that is all that you have not. With 100, Yorb. 1,000, Matub. Edward Kelly said, Now cometh a cloud, over them very white like smoke. Now they appear again, which burn night and day, and vomit out the heads of scorpions, and live sulphur mingled with poison. These be the thunders. Any time here, one rock bring out 1,000, even as the heart of man doth his thoughts. Woe, 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 yea, woe be to the earth, for her iniquity is, was, and shall be great. Come away, but not your noises. And 6, 10, so over here the margin. Nabagi said, Matub, you have it not. Edward Kelly said, Now the curtain is drawn again after a quarter of an hour. Well, what happened to key 7 and 8, right? Edward Kelly said, Now he appeareth. Nabagi said, Consider by these whose business you have in hand. O you that range in the south and are 28, the lanterns of sorrow, bind up your girdles and visit us, bring down your train, 3,663, that the Lord be magnified, whose name amongst you is wrath, and so on. 8, 12, 66 is half a step higher than 33, and Ob, that you have not, Ob is in 28, and then he said, and here must words in the end of the first call follow at move, and so on. He said, but this call it differeth a little expressly. They are the 14 last words in the holy language, thus, Zakar Ekaud Zamran Nada Ik Ka'azorgelap Zero Nokamad Hawath Ja'ada Odo Ik Kikle or something, right? And then another. Navagi said another. And then continued here. The mighty seat groaned, and there were thunders 5, which flew into the east, and the eagle spake and cried with a loud voice, Come away. And they gathered themselves together and became the house of death, of whom it is measured, and it is as they are, whose number is 31. Come away, for I prepare for you, or have prepared. Now, D Run and says 7 and 11. So, there's no language for these words in the call. And 31, Ga. Some say that Na is 50. And Gabriel, okay, in the margin here. Note, then begin at the first call, move as before. Edward Kelly said, Now they appear. And, Nabagi sang again, O thou, the governor of the first flame, under whose wings are 6,739, 6 being half a step above, which weave the earth with dryness, which know of the great name righteousness, and the seat of honor. 11 and 15, okay? And then there's a thing that says, Ille Messe, Wednesday, July 11th. Dixit hic Deist. At the first flame. Okay. At large. Da something something. The first flame. Okay. Navagi said, then move as before, and so on. O you sons of fury, the daughters of the just, which sit on 24 seats, vexing all creatures of the earth with age, which have under you 1,636. Behold the voice of God, the promise of him which is called amongst you fury or extreme justice and sons, daughters. Navagi said all is the word for 24, and Kuar for 1636. Of course, the 1 and 3. Well, not of course, but that's half a step down. Fury. And 1014. Different rows with the triangle. And move as before. O you swords of the south, which have 42 eyes to stir up the wrath of sin, making men drunken which are empty, behold the promise of God, and his power which is called amongst you a bitter sting. And 42, line over to Ux or Fux, says Navagi, and D wrote 9 and 13. Move as before, and so on. Edward Kelly said, now all is covered. Edward Kelly said, now it is open again. O thou mighty light and burning flame of comfort, which openest the glory of God to the center of the earth, in whom the secrets of truth 6,332 have their abiding, which is called in thy kingdom joy, and not to be measured. Be thou a window of comfort unto me. And you have 18 and 14. And move this before. I think we're going to stop. This is the 14. Receive them in the holy language. And